Good morning, everybody, and welcome back to Next Door NetAdmin. Today's the big one, folks. We're going to take everything that we've talked about in the last 4 weeks and we're going to go through it all from start to finish. So buckle up and let's get started. The very first thing we're going to do is we're going to go download the Windows 11 ISO. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to unpack our Windows 11 ISO so that we can access the files a little bit better. Now I've just extracted the Windows 11 Pro image on its own because that's all I'm going to be working with really. And now I'm going to mount that image for Windows 11 Pro so that we can get started on customizing it. This is the brand new 24H2 version of Windows 11 that just released this week. So it's still kind of new and I haven't fully tested this yet, but I'm going to walk you through the process anyway, and I'm pretty sure we're going to get a reasonably good result. It's important to note that some of the tools, some of the scripts for doing this can have ill effects if you aren't careful. So this is something that you always want to test before you actually put it into production. All of these scripts and files that I'm going to be using are on GitHub. I'm going to put the link on the screen right now, and you can also find it in the description box. But if you want to, you can pause the video here. You can download Windows 11 yourself and then get the files that we're going to be using and then follow along. Or you can watch me go through everything and then check out the scripts and other files on your own time. Either way, it's there for you to take advantage of. And I will also give you a couple of other references at the very end. But otherwise, we're just going to keep banging right on through this because there's a lot to cover. While that runs, let me just pop this open here so that you can see what it is. This is the script that is now running to deprovision the Apex packages in the image. There's a lot of stuff that's being pulled out of here. And it's all stuff that we don't need, so good to get rid of it. The next thing that we're going to run is this script, which is going to get rid of OneDrive setup file because we don't need it, and if it's not there, it can't run. Then we're going to load a couple of registry hives, and we're going to push a lot of registry entries into it. We're going to disable pre-installed apps. We're going to disable consumer features and all this other stuff. And we're going to also set some privacy settings as well that are good to have. And then we'll continue on from there. There we go. There we go. Now I just need to re-export it again. Why do I need to re-export it again? Well, because we've now reduced its size substantially. So let's knock that out. All right, that's done that. Cool. And we can see that what used to be 4.28 gigs is now 4.15 gigs. It's definitely smaller. So we can get rid of that now. We will rename this back to what it should be. And I will pop it back in here, overwriting the old one. There we go. Now, I need to put this back into an ISO file so that I can boot it in a virtual machine for demonstration purposes. If you've extracted this using something like Rufus to a USB drive, just replacing it in the sources directory is sufficient. You won't need to do this part. But if you want to produce an ISO file, of course you can. You can use the Windows automated installation kit that I demonstrated a while ago, and you can use this tool and the parameters I'm about to use for yourself. But it's not in the GitHub, so you'll just have to copy what I have on the screen, I guess. Oh. That should be there. There we go. And that is everything that it should be. Cool. All right. Let's switch machines. All right, we're ready to start installing it on our virtual machine. Again, because it's in a virtual machine, I'm having to use Windows PE to do the boot sequence and then be able to pull the unattended files that I'm looking for. But if you're installing on a machine, actual hardware, using a USB stick, you shouldn't have any problems with this. At least I really hope you don't. All right, give me just a second to get this attached. All right. This is new. I have not seen this before. This is my first time installing Windows 11 22H2. So, okay. That's different than what I demonstrated to everybody last week. All right. Well, it's still processing the settings in the auto unattend, so it's still a valid way of making Windows do what you want. It just looks a bit different. There we go. Now we should be booting into audit mode. Just got to give it enough time to do that. Ooh, again, this is different. Huh. Interesting. Aha, there we go. Looks a little different in setup, but we're getting to the same place. Now let's see what the desktop looks like. Oh, what have they done to it now? Yay, nice clean start menu. There's sysprep, we're going to get rid of that. And now I'm going to go through a whole bunch of things to customize this installation and make it the way I want it to be. So this is going to take a little time. Have a nice fast forward montage, I suppose. Less a montage, more just a fast forward. Who are we kidding? For this, I'm installing Adobe Acrobat Reader mostly as a demonstration to show you that we can have we can have applications installed into our images via audit mode, but I'm also going to be useful so that I can demonstrate how we can keep application defaults set once we pull everything into an actual finalized image. Kind of weird that as soon as you install it, there's updates to do, but that's how it is, I guess. All right, so now let's reboot the machine to see if any of these updates have added new components that weren't visible before. Okay, not seeing any Copilot here, which is a relief. Okay, so now let's take a look at apps. Default apps. Adobe. I'm going to say yes. Adobe is default for everything it can handle. That's good. If we had other things here like Outlook, we might choose that to be the default for mail. If we installed another browser like Firefox, we might choose that to be the default for internet traffic. But beyond that, let's just check our Windows Update one more time. I'm not getting a preview, thank you very much. All right, cool. Okay. Let's attach the share that I've been working on for my deployment computer. Just give me a second here. I can never find anything in Windows 11. Okay. Before I start running anything, there's a very important thing to do here. What the heck have they done to this? Okay, cool. This is fun. Actually, I don't want PowerShell. I want a regular command prompt. There we go. All right. This is another one of those DISM functions that rarely comes into play. This exports our list of default applications and what they're associated with, so that when we capture the image and it resets all of our default apps to Microsoft standard defaults, we will be able to take this XML document containing the app associations and reapply it. So that is an important thing to have. All right, if we've got that, I've got all of my scripts ready the way that I want them to be. Let's go ahead and seal the image. No, thank you very much. This is essentially what my sealing script is. It checks for any existing unattended XML files and deletes them, copies the new one into place, put my scripts directory where I want it to be, clean up any recently opened files, and then fire sysprep with the required unattended XML file. And I will usually run that from within CMD as well. So I probably shouldn't have killed that, but hey, I did. And there we go. Close that, close that. That's not something I've seen before. Interesting. This is the risk of trying this out live. Let's just shut it down, capture it, see what we get from there. No. There we go. Okay, now that we're back here. Okay. What we want to do from here is check that our C drive is there. It is, very much so. I don't know why it also has a windows.old already. How very odd. I'm really going to have to look into why sysprep is doing that. That's not happy. Regardless. There we are. This re-imported our default app associations back to the image so that now that we capture it, it should have all the default app associations in there that were needed. All right. This is one of the parts that takes the longest time. So, I'm not sure what caused that error with sysprep. It's very likely that what I'm demonstrating here is now a broken image. So I will continue demonstrating this to show you the process, but, big but here, it may not work. So we're going to find that out together, because again, this is the first time I've done this because this is a new version of Windows 11 that just came out this week. Oh, well, hey, you're going to find out at the same time I do. So that'll be fun. And then I'll probably have to go digging on that. But regardless, I do want to say that everything that I've made available in the GitHub should work with Windows 11 23H2 pretty flawlessly, because that's what it's all been based on up until this point. And that's what I've had working. So, albeit we may have some issues with 24H2, it should still be fine with the older version 23H2. So, in the meantime, nothing much for us to do but continue to let this run. All right. Yay. So, we now have our captured image saved right here. And what I would often do on a brand new machine is here. Let's pop that open just really quick. This particular script, the last one that we're looking at, gets a new computer name, and then it will automatically partition the disk. It will apply the image that we're looking for. But I'm going to have to rename that. There we go. And then I'll create boot files, set the recovery partition up, replace the default computer name with the new one, and then reboot into Ubi mode. Again, provided that this actually works. And because sysprep had a fatal error, it might not. But in any case, this is what the script would generally look like. Enter the new computer name. Test machine. There we go. Then it'll partition the disk. And then it will drop the image back to it. Fortunately for us, or fortunately for me, not so much for you guys, because you have the benefit of being able to watch all of this time compressed. But fortunately for me, applying the image generally takes a little less time than capturing it. So that's a good thing, at least. Something that is definitely helpful as a network administrator is patience. Particularly when you're working with these images. Like I said, I have spent days, weeks working on this process, and every new major version of Windows changes it up, so I'm actually a little nervous about this because I don't know what's going to happen. I don't think it's going to work. That definitely didn't work. I don't know if you noticed it as it flashed by on the screen so quickly, but the recovery partition setup, the partition setup worked, but the and no, that did not work at all. Oh well. That's a thing that happens sometimes. So, in any case, while this has not succeeded in this particular instance, that is the process that you can go through from start to finish. And I promise you it worked on 23H2. And I'm going to have to work on getting 24H2 to cooperate. But that's the basis of it. So, albeit there's some tweaks that need to happen, that's mostly it. Now, I did put the link to the GitHub where these scripts have all been uploaded for you to peruse. I did put that on the screen. I'm going to put that on the screen again. The link is also in the description box. And I'm going to update it as I make a few more tweaks. So hopefully I'll get this sorted out reasonably quickly, although it might have to wait until I have some more time to dig into it. Oh well, it's a little disappointing, but that's part of life as a network administrator. Sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. In any case, hopefully you found the entire process enlightening. I'll tell you one other thing that I will do, because I know that one of the other things that I was going to do, clearly I have not fixed that. I have not fixed Edge on this machine. Here is another GitHub page. Tiny11 Builder. A lot of what I put in these scripts was based off of Tiny11 Builder. And you can even go in and you can read through everything that this script does. And I did. I read through all of it, line by line, and figured it out. Here's, where it removes a bunch of the extra packages that it doesn't need. Here's where it puts in a bunch of registry keys. But there's a lot of things that it does that I did not want. For example, bypassing system requirements on the system image. Not a great idea. Not a great idea in a business context, because it won't be supported. It certainly won't be supported well. Disabling reserved storage in a business context, I want that. Removing Edge stuff. It's like, no, I want to keep Edge because it's a good replacement to Chrome, or at least it's a replacement to Chrome. You can say it's good or bad either way. Then we've got a whole bunch of scheduled tasks that it deletes. In a business context, these are not required to be disposed of, so I couldn't just run the entire script and be happy with it, but I did use it as a basis for what I wanted to do. However, note well, until the most recent update, it did break Windows updates. And so you could run this on an image and then install what you got, but you could never have any security updates ever again. Which is why I say it's good to use the resources that you can find on the internet as a starting point, but not necessarily a finishing point. And that goes for what I've put on GitHub too. Use it as a starting point, by all means. Maybe don't use it as an end point, but use that as a way to launch yourself forward and keep going from there. Like I said, I hope that you found this enlightening and possibly even enjoyable over the last 5 weeks. And if you have any thoughts on it or know why sysprep went goofy on me, feel free to leave a comment down in the comment section. Otherwise, for now, I am your next door netadmin, and we will see you next time. Well, it's 3 hours later, and I really shouldn't have kept working on this for another 3 hours, but I did because I couldn't let go of it. And that's another attribute of a network admin. And I figured it out. Looks to be like it's an issue where if you have a network share mounted, it can't clear the crypto files that it needs to. So let's give this a try. I'm gonna have to copy the files over to the drive first and then give it a go. So let's do that. First, let's eject this because I don't need it. All right. Let's do that. Yeah. Okay. Let's not do that. Let's paste them here. Okay. Now, let's unmount this. There we go. And instead of running this, thank you. Instead of running this as a script, I'm just going to do this manually so that I can make sure that, no, that's not what I want. There we go. I'm going to do it manually just so that I can better control what's happening. Yes. Thank you. Yeah. There we go. Yep. Okay. All right. Now, that's all done. I'm going to delete all of those. There we are. Yes. Off we go. Fingers crossed, folks. I will say that as long as you were running the files off of a USB stick, you would never run into this issue. And that's probably why I've never run into this issue before. It's only an issue if you have a network share connected. So don't feel like you have to manually do all of this yourself necessarily. Come on, finish properly. Finish properly. This is like the 8th time I've done this since I was last filming. Yeah, there we go. There we go. Cool. I'm not going to go through the whole capturing of the image and then unsealing it. If you guys want to see it, feel free to use these files yourself. But yeah, with that, Coda, thank you again for watching. This has been... I'm way too tired. I am your next door netadmin, and we will see you next time. Bye now.